Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy RW Coolins coming to you live from Las Vegas. I'm trying to finalize some things here. Hold on a minute so we can get this party started. So it's the 8-year anniversary, baby. 8 years in the making, 8 years in the taking, and we've been doing what we do with breaks and things like that, but we're gonna get into that. But let's go ahead and get this party started. Let's go. Give y'all a little funk this morning. Give y'all a little funk this morning. Here come my favorite part, y'all. Get ready. Horns blow. It's a funky Saturday morning here with the 8 years on the speaker on this show. We're going to have some fun this morning. I got my boy OT in the green room waiting to come in. So we're going to do what we do when we do what we do. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Boy, that boy plucking that guitar. He plucking that guitar. Listen to that thing right there. Breakdown. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's your boy, RW Coolins, coming to you live from Las Vegas. Speak on the show, 8 years, baby, 8 years. But before we start, first and foremost, giving honor to the God who allows me to come at you in this manner on a weekly basis. 8 years, y'all. But before we get into that, let's get these formalities out of the way. I got to get the formalities out of the way so you know where to follow me, where you know where to get at me. rwcoolins.com. That's all you need to know. Go to the website. Click on the links. All the links are there. Merchandise, t-shirts are there. Go get the t-shirts. Support the show. You know, I'm putting this coming out my pocket for this, so I'm trying to, get a little recoupment so I can put it back into the show to make it better for you. All right. So that's the website and everything. Calling number. Calling lines will be open the whole show. 844-904-2665. That's 844-904-2665. It's the anniversary show, baby, 8 years. So if you have anything you want to make a comment, either you can comment through YouTube. We're on YouTube and Facebook Live. You can comment there, or you can call in and let your voice be heard. No matter what the situation is, let your voice be heard. Say what you mean, but definitely mean what you say. We don't apologize here all the time. Sometimes, not all the time. All right. So I got some comments coming in already. Let's see what we got. Maurice Wigfall, good morning, brother. I thought something was wrong because I was just texting you about, oh, no, bro. We every once in a while, this Facebook thing, it messes up. He's got the links out there and everything, like that. So it didn't pop up like I wanted it to, and appreciate the 8 years. Congratulations, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks for your support throughout those 8 years, whether you've been listening for the whole 8 or if you only live for 8 minutes. I appreciate you chiming in every week and helping the conversation move along. So if you want to come in virtually, I've posted the link, StreamYard link, on the RW Coolins page. There's a link there. You can go there and click on it, and it'll bring you in. It'll put you in the green room. And then if you got something you want to say, something you want to talk about with the show, how it's impacted you, how it's trash, whatever you want to say, I'm bringing you in today because I can only get better if I take positive critique. Let me say that again. Positive critique. All right. So Right now, I got my boy in the green room. And let me tell y'all something. My boy in the green room, OT. OT is the one that put me on. OT is the one that introduced me to the podcasting and brought it up to me about doing this show. And Craig say, congrats. I see you doing it. Thanks, bro. I appreciate you, Craig. Appreciate you. But OT brought me in, introduced me to podcasting as a whole. And I'm going to bring him in and then we can discuss what we're going to discuss. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, my man, the man who put me on, OT. What's going on, player?
What's up, man? What's going on? What's going on? How you feeling,
man? What's happening? See, I had to have you on today, man. Let me give people a little bit of background here. I needed to have OT on because OT is the one that got RW Coolers behind the microphone. He bothered me. He hunted me down.
Sure did.
They call it stalking now. What was it, like 2010, 2011, 2012, something?
Yeah.
Go 2010, 11?
Yep. 2010, Hawked you down. Well, first, hold up, man. Gotta say congratulations, man. Happy anniversary to you. And it's an honor and a pleasure to have you invite me because you big. You big.
Well,
you my guy now. You know what I mean? You my guy now. I'm following your footsteps now.
I ain't gonna say big. I'm I'm a little something. I ain't gonna say big. I'm a little something. I'm a little something. Just a little something. Just a little something. But I'm trying to figure out. I'm clicking on stuff, but it ain't acting right this morning. I don't know what's going on. What happened here? Oh, there we go. Okay, so let the people know exactly how long you've been doing this, and then we're gonna get into some other. How long you been doing your radio show and all that kind of stuff?
Oh man, I've been doing mine for 13 years.
Wow.
I've been doing it since it was the internet, as they call it, internet radio, and they changed the name of podcast. So I've been doing it since the internet radio.
Okay.
13 years, and still going strong. Still trying to, do a little bit, other things, because now the podcast thing then took over. But once again, everybody's doing the same thing except for you. People ain't being real on the station. I'm just being honest. People ain't being real on podcasts no more. People ain't being themselves. But hey man, I'm just hanging in there.
Well, I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that because what's funny is I every time I'm thinking about the show, I think back to when you first approached me. Let's give people a little background. I was in Atlanta at the time. I was living in Atlanta, and we was working at I just put the name out, U.S. Food Service.
Mm-hmm.
And OT was, in there doing his thing, computer stuff. I don't know what he was doing, but I was a supervisor, the drivers and stuff like that. And we used to pass each other, when passing and stuff like that. Speak, and that was about it.
Yep.
And then one day he came up to me and introduced himself. We knew each other in passing, but he introduced himself and he said, "Hey man, I think you need to be on, doing something on these radio show or podcast or something." I looked at him like it was crazy. I mean, I was like, man, you tripping. But what I did was I told him, I was like, well, I tell you what, let me think about it. And then after I told him I'd think about it, I kept trying to avoid him as much as possible because I didn't want to have to do it. Good morning, Gary Burns. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Thanks for the support. And congratulations. Appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. You've been supporting me for a long time back there in DC. I appreciate you, Big G. But yeah, so he was a stalker, in a good sense. But, I always say this, and people see things in you that you don't see in yourself. Because I never would have thought about being on a radio show or nothing like that. But now I'm addicted. I'm addicted, bro. I'm addicted. And I say that in a good way. We all got our vices, but I'm addicted to it because if I'm not on here in the mornings passing out information, getting that music pumped up and getting going and everything like that, I don't feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Not just for me, but for the people that need to hear what's going on around them. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of them things, man. Just one of them things. So, so when you getting back on, I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be getting back on because I got some things. Well, me and you got some things that we partnership on, and the bro, when I get back on, it's gonna be a misunderstanding. I don't know when, but I know it's gonna be sometime this year because
Okay.
there's gonna be some big announcements with the partnership that me and you have, and just plugging everything together. Because like we said, we about to take over the game,
Yeah. Well,
and I mean that. I mean that in a good way.
well, yeah.
I
And
mean
we
that in a
wait.
good way.
And we're gonna get into that a little bit later in the show because I got a specific thing that me and you talked about that I want to get into regarding podcasts and shows and different things like that. But we're gonna
Hmm.
get into that as we go along. But before, what I want to do, because I got to give my people the information that they're always looking for when they come on here. And we're gonna
Yes,
start off
sir.
this morning, State of the Union.
Mm.
State of the Union. 45 days, y'all. 45 days until we vote. 45 days. Now, I said this was going to be an anniversary, y'all. We're going to talk about no politics, but this is important, so I got to put it out there. 45 days. You need to register to vote. You need to do the early voting. You need to mail in voting. It's all about voting for the next 45 days. If you don't know what your status is, you need to call and find out. If you can early vote, you need to early vote. You need to do whatever you can do to get out there and let your voice be heard at the polls. The other thing, yesterday we all heard, seen all over the news, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away, 87 years old. The notorious RBG, that's what they called her, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, 87 years old. Now, she was a fighter. She fought, she had colon cancer at one time. She had pancreatic cancer twice. And then she also had lung cancer. And she made it through all those things. But then she went in just recently for some things and, it turned for the worse. So she's left us. But here's where the voting comes into play. If everybody remembers when President Obama had the opportunity to put a Supreme Court person in place when Justice Scalia passed away, and the Republicans kept kicking it down the road for almost 11 months, or however long they did, the Republicans now are in a hurry with this election coming up to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg, which will change the dichotomy of the Supreme Court. This is why when I talk to you guys, I tell y'all, we gotta get better. We gotta do better. We gotta get out here and do what we're supposed to do, because these judge positions are lifelong appointments. And once they're there, the only thing that gets them out of there is if they choose to leave, as far as retire, or they pass away while they're in there. Mm-hmm. So you got to get out there and vote. But there's a quote that Ruth Bader Ginsburg stated at one time. This is back in, let me take my glasses off, y'all, excuse me, 2012. And this is what she said. She said, "When I'm sometimes asked, when will there be enough women on the Supreme Court? And I say, when there are 9 people." Wait a minute. Oh, no, wait a minute. Let me go back. I can't read my writing this morning. When I'm sometimes asked, when will there be enough women on the Supreme Court? And I say, when there are 9, people are shocked. When there are 9 women, people are shocked. But there's been 9 men, and nobody's ever raised a question about that. So basically, she said, when they get 9 women on the Supreme Court, that's when things are equal. And then why do they ask the question? Because there's never been a question about 9 men sitting on the Supreme Court. And she has a good point. And we run into this as people of color, where positions, job positions, all these different things, they ask, why they got so many black folks working there? Well, nobody asks why there's so many white folks working there. So it goes hand in hand with what she was saying, and I'm not going to get too deep into that, but rest in peace to notorious RBG. She did a lot for women while she was in the Supreme Court, just not for women, for everybody while she was up there with her dissents against what they were voting on and things like that. But I'm telling y'all, this election, the things that they're doing before we get into this election, these are the things that we got to pay attention to, not only when election season comes around, but year after year after year after year, to ensure that we're doing our due diligence. Because you got to remember, people put in these positions who are like them. People put in these positions who have the same mentality as them. One of the big things that's on the docket is the Voting Rights Act. All these things come into play, and we got to be better. We got to do our due diligence. We got to pay attention, and we got to get out there and vote. Not only every 4 years, but whenever elections come up. That's my word for the day as far as that, because, I didn't want to get too much into the politics of things, but this is something that I felt needed to be said this morning. OT, you got anything you want to piggyback on that?
Yeah, man. I mean, we got to get out there and vote, man. We have to. We have to get out there and vote. For me, I'm so skeptical about the mail-in vote because so much stuff is going on when it comes to mailing in your vote. So I'm at the polls. I'm pushing the button. That's just
But
me.
yeah, well, if you really think about it, when did this thing about mail-in voting become such an issue? When somebody made it an issue.
An issue.
Nobody
Yep.
has ever said anything about the mail-in voting. We've never had any problems with mail-in voting. You never had any fraud identified with the mail-in voting. But when you have someone that wants to cause discord and put those manipulative things into play, this is where we're at now. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm one of them people that like to go pool. I probably go early vote and things like that. But
Yep.
for those that have mail-in voting, they have done that over and over and over again, like the person that tried to put this manipulation in there, who's done it forever. Now it's an issue. Now it's an issue. And that's where, you got to step back for a minute and wonder, okay, why now? Well, we all know why now. Sharon Carroll, good morning, cuz. Congratulations on your 8 years. May you have many more. Appreciate you, cuz, down there in Florida. Y'all be safe down there. But yeah, it's just one of them things. But let's get into this, man. 8 years, bro. 8 years.
8 years. 8 years. 8 years, man. 8 years. 8 years, man. I'm still going back at how basically, like, I really did stalk you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I stalked you, man, and because I seen something in you that I already know that first of all you had the voice for it, and then second of all it was just your overall, as the young people say, your overall swag. You understand what I'm saying? Was there, and he dipped off on me. He dipped off on me. He left. What I mean, I had to catch him in Vegas. A lot of people don't know. You dipped off, and
Yeah,
I
I
had
broke
to.
it. I broke.
Yeah. But I got
I
you.
can't.
I
I
got
don't know
you.
why.
I let you down. And now 8 years later, man, man, you're doing your thing, man. And I mean, it just you can see the transformation from the first show to 8 years later. Everything just mature. I mean, everything that we did just mature, but you just took it to a whole nother level, a whole nother level. And I appreciate you for actually, saying, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to step out there on faith and go in and do it. Let me try it out to see how it is. If you tried it out one time, next thing you know, you're like, all right now, it's time to get busy.
Yeah. I'm glad you touched on that because the first show, if everybody knows, the first show I did was September 29th, 2012. And man, I was nervous. I was sweating. And mind you, we didn't have the visual then. We were just doing audio at all. And I said, I went back and listened to it a couple days ago. Voice shaking, trying to figure out if I had everything hooked up right. Maurice Wigfall, I'm definitely glad you stayed on him. Man, get off here with them comments, man. Don't give OT no more fuel for the fire, man. Don't give no more fuel for the fire. Appreciate that, Maurice. But I went back and listened to it, man, and I was all over the place. And what I recognized was, and I think it was a crutch for me because, everybody's listened to the show for a while. I used to play the music. I used to have them, play like 2 songs in a row, then come back in. And it gave me time to kind of smooth out and get myself together and everything like that, So I recognized in some of the other ones I listened to, is like I'll start off a little nervous and don't get me wrong, I still get nervous. Because I worry about the technical and all that stuff. Because, we one-man shows. We ain't got nobody working boards. We ain't got nobody working cameras. We don't have that luxury. Plus, OT don't pay good money. So that's part of the problem.
Facts.
Well, I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to put this out and let everybody know. It's been 8 years I've been on, and you heard OT say he's been on 13 years. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of budget he got, because I'm not reaping and sowing the seeds. The seeds have been sowed upon me up to this point. Say what you want, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And in those 8 years that I've been on, me and OT did a morning show. And it was good. But there was times where I had to pull my brother back sometimes because he get out there in left field and I don't know what OTB think, but you can elaborate on that sometime, dog. Because
Oh man, listen. When we started the morning show, man, it was how can I say it? It was the mature one and the street one, right? So you had to bring me back. You
oh, I
you
thought
had
I
to
was a
bring me
street
back
one.
because I was yeah, no, 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 no. You was the mature one, right? Because you
Oh,
had to bring me back a couple of times. You say, hey, listen, what OT say is what OT say. This
no, no, no. Let me put it out there for the people. So OT would get on these tangents sometimes, right? Talking about, with the streets and all that kind of stuff, and with the women and different different side pieces, all that kind of stuff. Hey. So I had to clear it up because, not knowing I have future aspirations, but I had to make sure that we separated, the two. So the phrase I used to throw in there was the views expressed by OT are OTs and OTs only and do not reflect the thoughts and the understandings of R.W. Coolins. And then I would say, proceed. Because sometimes what you find out, you can't ride along on everybody's coattail when they get off on that tangent right there. We used to do it jokingly, but I've seen things as time is going on in the industry. When you sit back and you watch other people's podcasts and people having to come back and apologize for stuff and everything like that. And I guess subconsciously I was doing that, but overall it was all about us trying to put a show out there where we can have fun, where we know where the line was, but then we could pull it back to the line sometimes. And there's times I've crossed that line. I crossed it.
yeah,
I
man.
remember specifically a show we were doing, and I think I had you on as a guest, and we were talking about men and their emotions. And we had a caller call in, female caller. Let me clear it up. Female caller. And let me say this real quick. If she's out there, this is one of them times I'm gonna do it. I truly apologize because I listened to that show a couple weeks ago, and she called in and she mentioned the fact of why do men always have to lie, cheat, and all this kind of stuff. She just went on a little tangent, so I had to stop her. And when I stopped her, I'm not proud of what I told her, but I did get a little boisterous. And if anybody's listening, I don't know if it's still loaded up on Blog Talk Radio where we were before, but I would like, if you had opportunity to go back and listen to it. But basically what I told her was, we as black men deal with a whole lot in this world. Now, this was back then. I know we all deal with a lot right now, black men and black women, but I said to her, we deal with a lot in this world. We go out and we got to fight the battle as soon as we leave our house. We go out there 8 hours working, doing whatever we got to do, getting looked at crazy, all these different obstacles we got to deal with out there in the world. And then we come home and then we got to hear this. And I said, the thing about it is, if you get in front of the situation and rather than always assume that this man is doing something wrong, why not live on the fact that everything he may be doing right? And then if something's wrong, it'll come up when it needs to come up, not when you expect it to come up. And then we heard crickets, then we got quiet. Now, the way I'm saying it today is not the way I said it that day.
It sure wasn't.
Yeah.
Sure wasn't. But see, now you see the level of doing it from then to now, right? And that's why I call growth. Like we all went through our tantrums, we all went through our stuff. Now the growing, like you can see year from year, the growth of especially you, and the things that you're doing. Because I remember one time you went through a technical difficulty, and man, you looked like you was about to like blow a gasket. You was like, oh, the internet done went down. I don't know what's going on with this. I got a guest on. Man, this ain't good for me. This ain't good. Slow down for a second. Just give it a second. Give it a second. You got it. Nah, man. Nah, I'm about to end the show. But you didn't. Yeah. But you didn't. And then you seen the things of technical difficulties and you've seen the things that happen, and then now you know how to go around it. You know,
Yeah.
now you'll go through a song. Okay, yo, man, we're gonna go to a song right now. Blase, blase. Next thing you know, then you come back, or we have a technical difficulty. Well, we didn't even know you was having technical difficulty. So
Right.
now you know
Right.
how to maneuver and stuff. So that's why I call growth. A lot of people stay in that same spot, but you didn't grew. You grew 8 years. 8 years.
Yeah.
Now look at you sitting in the chair, microphone swinging in the chair. Hey, yeah. Hey,
but
cool.
pop it, pop it, pop it. But
Pop
you know what's funny
it.
about the technical difficulties? What a lot of people don't understand is that when you have a show like this and you're doing a show like this and you have those technical difficulties, that can make or break who decides to tune in. You know, it could be a first time person to come in and they in that one day that you have no technical difficulties, they be like, man, I ain't listening to that garbage because when you don't have control over the technical part of it, all we can do is hook up the internet and the connections and everything like that. You know,
Yep.
whatever happens from there, we really don't control. You know, and that's
Yep.
I think that's something that a lot of people need to understand is that now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's that difficult with the way you do the show and everything like that. But it's one of those things where when technical difficulties come into play, you got to be able to react. And the first time I had technical difficulties, I didn't know how to react. I was on the phone calling OT, like, what am I gonna do, man? This pissed me off. I was going through it. I was
Yeah.
going through it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was going through. And it's one of those things where, you know, we get mad when our internet ain't working and all that kind of stuff. Well, it's the same thing with the show. If the internet's not a good
Hmm.
connection, if it's not working right, if the microphones ain't connected right, or you got feedback going on, all those things play a part in not you could be talking about in-depth conversation about anything.
Hmm.
But if all those things aren't connected and running on smooth and running on time, you're gonna lose a lot of listeners, no matter how good a show you made and no matter how much good information you put out there.
Yep.
You know, any glitches
Yeah.
can
Any
mess it up. And
glitches.
that's and I'm pretty sure people have seen I've had some glitches today because I've been trying to get these microphones so there's not that feedback in there. So, you know, you gotta work with things and get into those things because it's one of those things where you want to put a good product out, but sometimes it just happens. It just happens that way. So let me ask you this question, man. In the eight
Okay.
years you've been listening to the show, watching me, following me, or whatever, what and there's probably a lot of them, but of all the shows you've seen me do and
Hmm.
or that we've done together, which one jumps out at you most? And I'm gonna tell you which one jumps out at me.
Okay. Wow, dude, for 8 years. One of the shows that jumped out to me is the one that you did on the veterans.
Mm.
Uh,
PTSD.
yes,
Mm.
yes, that show right there jumped out to me. The one is actually a couple of them, but the one
Mm.
with the PSD, and when you had Capone, the comedian
I
Capone
was
on
just getting ready to talk about
that
Capone.
right there, man. Yeah, 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 yeah. That one
Yeah.
right there. Yeah,
Yeah. For
yeah,
anybody that
man.
doesn't know who comedian Capone is, you need to go look him up on YouTube. Capone is he hardcore. He
Yep.
hardcore, but he gave me an interview, man, and I mean, it was down and dirty. I mean, it was true, facts, everything. But the one thing he said that I live by to this day is, you know, through that whole interview, he made he has this quote. He said, "Do not pick up a microphone if you don't have something to say."
Okay. Yep. Mm,
Do not pick up a
strong.
microphone if you don't have something to say. And that resonates with me every day, every time I get ready to do the show. That if I want to come on here, I want to make sure I got something to say that's going to make an impact on somebody who's listening somehow. Because when he said that, as a comedian, you know, you sit there and you're like, well, yeah, he's telling jokes. So, you know, but it's anybody. You pick up a microphone,
Hmm.
you know, if you pick up a microphone to sing, hey, you might not be able to sing, but hit your notes that you know. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know, be true to yourself when you get that microphone. And that's what I took from that. And that's one of the things that I try to stay focused on was Capone. And what he said at the end of that was, make sure if you pick up the microphone, you got something to say. And
Yep.
that's one of the things that drives me to do what I do when I come on and do the shows, you know, and I know we've gone in the 8 years, I've gone from being more lifestyle, different things like that, what's going on in the
Hmm.
world, different things. But now with the climate, we've transitioned to a lot of political stuff. Nanette Naylor, congratulations. Appreciate you. That's a old high school friend. Hey, Nanette, appreciate you. But yeah, it's gone more political since I've come back on this time after a little hiatus, because that's the climate we're in right now. Those are the things that people need to hear about, and I'm not going to shy away from it. I mean, at one time I was torn. Do I do the political? Do I not do the political? But we'll transition back after November 3rd. However, up until then, I'm gonna keep pounding it, because there's somebody out there right now that's indecisive. There's somebody out there on the fence that doesn't know which way they want to go, and somebody's out there right now talking about, man, I ain't even wasting my time going to the polls.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we got to get better with what we do as far as those type things, and get people to understand why they need to get to the polls and things like that. But the one show I'm going to bring up, and you're gonna laugh when I tell you, a lot of people don't know this, but me and OT on our morning show interviewed Michael Baisden.
Yep.
And let me tell y'all something. So OT, we had a publicist at the time, right? Mm-hmm. And she reached out to his people because Michael Baisden had a new book coming out. And hold on, Joe Kirk, proud of you, my brother. Sing a song. No, come on now. I might hit a note or two a little later on, but you always try to get a brother to sing, Joe. Come on, man. Come on, work with me, baby. Work with me. He's a guitarist in the group I was in before, Victorious Men of Praise. So I appreciate you, Joe Kirk. Appreciate you. But when we did the Michael Baisden show, interview, OT had called me, right? Bruh. Sound like a kid waiting for Santa Claus to come or something, man. He was so excited, right? So I said, man, what's wrong? You good? He was like, man, you ain't gonna believe who we got. I was like, bruh, who we got? He said, Michael Baisden. Now, at this point in my life, I don't get shell shocked like that, right? I'm like, yeah, whatever, But he said, Michael Baisden. And then OT, I can hear him like crying on the phone. And I'm laughing about it now, but at the time, he was so excited about interviewing this person that he idolized in radio.
Yep.
And OT was over the moon, bro. And I was like, calm down, bro. Calm down.
Yep.
Calm down. And this was a month before we had the interview.
Yeah.
A month. April Whedon, I agree, Joe. Congratulations, brother. See, that's the thing. See, that's my sister, April. Now, y'all know I didn't come on here today to sing. I came on here to talk about my 8-year anniversary. I might give y'all a little something at the end, but we're going to worry about that when we get there. But OT, it was a month out. And every week leading up to that, bro, what we going to ask him? What we going to talk about? I said, bro, we talking about his book. We going to talk about his book. That's what it's about. That's what the interview is about. And the thing is, man, the day of, y'all thought he was bad for the month.
What?
The day of.
Drop the mic.
He called me that morning, man. OT called me that morning, man. I was like, bruh, what's wrong? He said, bro, we interviewed Michael Baisden today, bro. I'm laughing about it now because looking back on it, man, it's one of those things that in my mind I think about people that I may interview. No, let me get that right. People I will interview as I move forward in this. And I say to myself, am I going to be like that? Am I going to be like OT was that day? Because you never know.
Yeah, man. That right there, Michael Baisden thing, man. Like, because, we interviewed a lot of people, a lot of stars and stuff like that. And just when you get that one that you set back and you idolize, and when I say idolize, as far as radio, everything that he was doing, right? I loved it. And then I've read all his books. So now I got the author, that my favorite author that's coming on. And now my man that's in the radio, it's like, yo, dude, nah, can't believe it. Can't believe it. Now, mind you, I didn't interview other authors that's big like him too. But the fact that he came on, I'm sitting back, I'm like, man, he out of radio too? He not even in radio right now. He coming on here. And what people fail to understand is that during that time that we had these shows, we was getting the same people that radio get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We was we was out there before people even thought about like internet shows. Like people didn't think about internet shows. People just go on regular shows, regular radio stations, and come on. And we was getting these people. And I'm sitting back, and to this day, I'm still like, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My guy, Michael Basin, came on. I interviewed nervous. I was nervous. I was nervous like it's my first show. You dig what I'm saying? Because then it's like everything that I've been doing and programmed to do, now they just went right out the window. It's like, yo, dude, mm-mm, mm-mm.
But there was
So
a
that's
part in
why
there
I'm
was a part in
happy.
the interview. There was a part in the interview that after he said this, you chilled out because you was nervous when you was asking the questions and stuff. And I was on the, because everybody remember this was all audio. We didn't see each other at the
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
you was in Philly. No, you was still in
Yeah.
Atlanta, right?
Mm, no,
Or was
matter
you
of
in?
fact, you know what? No, I think I was in. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in Atlanta. I was in
So
Atlanta. I was sweating too, bro.
OT was in Atlanta,
Tremendously.
and I was out here in Vegas,
Hey,
and
yep.
we were doing it from two different ends of the United States, and then I think Mike Basin was in New York somewhere, right? But that's when he was
Yeah.
called. He called in. But this is the part
Mhm.
where OT kind of calmed down. So when Michael Basin came in, we did the introduction. I let OT do the introduction because he was. I asked him if he's gonna make it through. I'm sitting here laughing, man. But when OT got through the introduction, stuttering, everything else. But he got he got through the introduction, and then Michael Basin, we introduced. It's like R.W. Coolins and OT, on the morning show, right? And Michael Basin said, "Well, if we got R.W. and OT, then y'all just call me MB."
Yep.
And
Yep.
OT he went from here and brought it right back down where he needed to be because Michael Basin made himself feel like he was just one of us having a conversation when he said, just
Yeah.
call me because OT was on there, sir, sir, sir.
Yeah.
He said, RW and OT. He said, man, I want to be in the group. Call me MB.
Yes,
And
sir.
OT
Yes,
chilled
sir.
up, but I was laughing and I wasn't laughing because he was calling him sir. I was laughing because you can hear in OT's voice, he was cracking. And I was just laying back like, come on, bruh. Come on. Fight through it. Because,
Yeah.
and the thing is, I think what people got to realize is when you start interviewing people and getting these big name people that are in the industry and you interview them, as much as we laugh about it now, we don't, when we look back on, we don't realize how big that is or how
Yeah.
important it is to be able to interview people like that. Now, and like I said, as we go forward, that's where I plan to get to. That's where we're going to get to with some of the ventures that we're going to get into. But it's one of those things that now he lives out here in Las Vegas, Michael Basin does. And I've
Mhm.
been going back and forth because I know he does his own thing, Basin After Dark and everything. But I'm at a point now where I think I'm gonna reach out to him and see if I can get him on. I'm just see what happens.
Sir.
Because I'm. Let's talk about interviews too. Let me just say this, man. In the 8 years, most of the interviews we got through the publicist when we were doing and everything.
Mhm.
But let me tell you about R.W. Coolins in his 8 years. R.W. Coolins don't like rejection. I don't want nobody to tell me no. So sometimes I just don't ask. I'm just being honest.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
And what I'm learning is in this industry, you have to be able to take no. And that's where I'm getting to. Y'all can judge me or whatever, but being turned down for something that you truly want to do is kind of, you take it to heart. You take it personal, that kind of thing. But I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, you know what? I just got to put myself out there, ask the question. They say no, they say no. And it's something I used to say years and years ago. You can't miss what you never had.
Yep.
You can't miss what you never had.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that. And like I said, we're going to have some more interviews coming up and everything like that, try to get some celebrities on. And I really don't want to do a lot of celebrities, just some that have something to say, something important to say. Because you get a lot of celebrities on here and then people are looking for, and we're going to get into just the followership and people, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And they're looking at the numbers of who's watching rather than the impact of why they're watching. And I wanted to make sure that we don't get into that type of territory per se.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
my new slogan: one man, one mic. One man, one mic. And I came up with this, man, because I think I got, and I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, but I think I got the radio thing down to a certain extent, or the shows or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? As far as trying to improve on the show, different things like that. And Nanette Nella, nothing beats a failure but a trier. Amen. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Nothing beats a failure but a trier. And appreciate that, Nanette. That's something that, when you go through life, you try a lot of things and you don't see them as failure. You just see it, I wasn't that good at it. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. But when somebody tells you no, that you really want to interview or something like that, you're like, oh man, why did I even put myself in that position? Why did I even ask the question? Because you really don't want to hear no. But when getting back to the one man, one mic, I came up with this because I was doing some thinking. And as you seen, my brother Joe and my sister April chiming in, talking about sing a song and all this kind of stuff, So I decided to do the one man, one mic slogan for RW Coolins in the aspect of the radio show. Then I want to get back into the singing with a group somehow, R&B, gospel, both, if not, because we were doing that before. And then getting out and doing speaking engagements, hosting engagements, different things like that. So the one man, one mic comes from that, because you only need one mic. You really don't need a mic. You just need one voice. In order to get your story out there, get out there what you want to be told and everything. So I look at it, man, and I said, one man, one mic. I said, okay, where am I going with this? And it fit into where my vision is, as far as where I want to go. And it's the things that when I get on here and I'm passionate about what we talk about, the conversations, the topics, and all those type things. And you get to a point in your life where you're not trying to impose your will or your thoughts on nobody, but you just want to make sure that they understand where you stand. Yeah. And that you truly believe in what you stand on, and you're not going to waver from that. Now, when I say waver, I'm not saying that you can't take into account what the other person is saying and digest it and maybe learn from it, anything like that. But what you stand on, when your integrity and all those things come into play, what you stand on is what you're known by. And that's one of the things that with this show, speak on it. Let me caveat here, OT, because you remember when I called you, man, and you kept when you kept stalking me, and I finally said, all right, man. I said, all right, man, whatever, what I need to do. You said, well, you need to come up with a name. You need to get a laptop. You need to do this, you did. Like a name. Why I need a name? He said, you got to come up with the name of the show. Man, I did that for about a month, bruh. For a month, I was writing stuff down and everything. And when I came up with Speak on it, because it wasn't a show at the time, it was just Speak on it. And I called OT. He was like, that's it. That's it. That's it. And I was like, are you serious right now? I said, that's good. He's like, yeah, man, that's it. You just need a name. You just need a name. I was like, all right, cool. And as time is going on, I try to base everything we doing on this show as speaking on it, speaking on the topics that need to be spoken on, talking about the things that people want to hear, right, wrong, and indifferent, and putting it out there for people. And I use this tagline a lot, and I say, if I made you think differently than you did before you turned the show on this morning, then I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Because we all have an opinion about whatever's being said in the news and out there and everything. And I put my opinion out there. First, I read the facts. I make it a point that I put the facts out there first before I integrate my opinion. But at the same time, I want to put it out there where if you came in thinking something different than I put out there, as far as my opinion, not to change your mind, but to make you look at it in the full scope of things where you may not have looked at it before. And that's the purpose. And that's one of the main reasons why I enjoy doing the show. So,
well, I could say this other show. I want to talk about this other show that we did. We interviewed a Republican politician that was running that was running for what was he running for? Was he running for? I think he was running for Senate.
Senate. He was a senator.
Yep, a senator for Georgia, and we had him on. And even though we had our differences, you can tell that, first of all, for me, I'm just sitting back, because this is actually what RW do. See, a lot of folks don't know. Speak on it, yeah, he speaks on it, and he don't wave away from it and nothing like that. And I was just sitting back, uh, listening, and y'all went back and forth, went back and forth, went back and forth. But you can tell, see, a lot of people on radio don't really know how to go back and forth when they have differences, when it comes down to politics. And I'm sitting back and I wasn't really saying nothing. It was basically you.
You set me
And
up.
yeah, yeah, of course, because what you was doing then and you still doing it now is this was your lane. This wasn't my lane. My lane is the ratchet lane. Right now, I done got a little bit mature. I got a little bit mature and everything else. Now I don't do that. I wave a little
Ratchet.
bit to it, but
The ratchet.
the
Did you say
ratchet.
the? Did you
Yeah,
say the ratchet lane?
yeah, the ratchet lane. I could get ratchet lane. At the ladies call, what I mean, guys call, ladies call them ratchet, stuff like that. I could get in that lane. But now I have mature, just tab it, just tab it because I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to bring that enter out. But when you was interviewing the Republican senators and how y'all was going back and forth, you could see that the conversation went from a scope of, well, this is how I look at things, and this is how you look at things. Let's try to bridge that gap because
Mm,
back then a lot of people wasn't even doing that. A
right.
lot of people wasn't having a Republican and they was a Democrat on a station. So when you bridge that gap, and then y'all came up, like I'm sitting back and we was talking about, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was school reform or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
taking
It
money
was.
out
It
of
was.
school,
Yeah.
right? And then I sit back and I think about it, like he really was making a little bit of sense
Yeah.
on certain things. And then when you brought your aspect to it, it was like, dang. Now even though we got a Democrat and Republican, they still like going back and forth, but it's so mature and he agreeing on things that you said.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting back like, well, man, is he going to change his mind? Because the way W talking to my man going to change his mind because he
I,
starts saying, you know what, I do agree with you on that one. And
I
I'm
thought I
sitting back
had
and
him.
I'm like,
I thought
wow,
I had him, bro. I
yeah,
thought I had him. I thought I had him. I had him.
yeah.
I had him, bro. I had him.
So I mean, far as like the different things we broke barriers that a lot of people were scared to break,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
during that time that we was doing it, no one wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
But we broke those barriers. And people still to this day will come back to the shows because they like, listen, these these guys was who they are. When you see them on the street, they're the same person that you hear on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference. That's
Yeah.
the difference now with podcasting. People want to put this other persona out there like they this way. But then when they see them on the street, they're another way. And with you, you are the same person that's on the radio. It's the same person that you'll meet in person. The same way. You see him in Walmart, you see him wherever, he's going to be the same way. And that's why when you came up with that name, that's why I was like, that's it. Because you're
Yeah.
speaking on what's going on today. And now look at it 8 years later, you haven't changed the name. It's still the same
No.
because that's who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, look. Let me put this out there for all the listeners, and you can tell your friends and everything like that. I don't mind you approaching me in Walmart, places like that. If you see me, ask for an autograph, nothing like that, I don't mind. But if you see me breaking bread with my family, do not interrupt my meal. I'm gonna be like these celebrities out there. Don't interrupt my meal. Don't interrupt my meal. Wave, move on, or something, or stand back, wait till I get done eating.
Uh,
No, but I'm playing. Please come and ask me for an autograph if you see me. Please. I've been working on my signature a little bit lately, so come see me. Come ask a brother. Ask a brother. But I say that jokingly, man. But there's a lot of things that in this industry that a lot of people don't realize is that you know I sent you a video the other day, two videos, and
mm-hmm.
a lot of people may not know who I'm talking about, but Joe Budden, who was a rapper back in the day, now he's got his podcast. He talks about the industry, different things like that. But he had a deal with Spotify as far as doing his podcast, and they were paying him good money. And it came up for a contract renegotiation. He turned it down. Well, then you have Charlamagne the God, who's on the Breakfast Club. I think a lot of people know him more than Joe Budden, but he was talking about Joe Budden, talking about he didn't know how to negotiate his deal and things like that. But to make a long story short, Joe Budden came back at Charlamagne after the comments he made, and he just basically told him, we're not the same. You're in radio. You're making money for the radio station. No matter what they're paying you, you're making money for them. And he said, I own this. I own my podcast. And when I listened to it, it was about 20, 30 minutes long. I sent it to OT. And you called me. You said, like, what is it? I said, bro, you need to listen to it. And when he called me back, OT told me he listened to it 3 times. Because the things he was dropping, the jewels he was dropping about ownership and your own podcast where you call the shots. And a lot of people ask, and I'm sure you got the same questions, OT, is how much you get paid for that, or how much money you make off that, and all these different things, because everybody sees what you do as being monetary. But nobody pays attention to impact. And it's not a competition. Let me put this out there too. Everybody looks at what we do with the podcast and your shows and things like that. Like we're in competition with someone. It's not about competition. I don't want to be in competition with somebody. I don't want somebody to be competing with me. I want us all to be on the same page as far as us being able to put the messages out there that need to be out there, interviewing the people that need to be interviewing who have something to say, for everybody to get the information that they need. It's not one of those things where you have to continue. Hey, Michelle Jones Austin, she said, hello, RW and OT. She's one of the ones who was on our show on OT's network as well. But you can't, you can't be out here thinking, well, I'm competing with this person. I'm competing with that person. I compete with this. It has nothing to do with competition. What's your content? What content are you putting out there to allow people to draw their own conclusions about what's going on? What content are you putting out there, whether you may be a comedian, you may be a politician, whatever you do, it's about the content that you're putting out there and how you deliver it. So when I heard Joe Budden and Charlamagne the God going back and forth, I laughed. And the reason I laughed to myself is like, in the big scope of things, both of them are doing basically the same thing.
Yeah.
One's on a radio platform, one has his own podcast. Has nothing to do with who owns what. What are you putting out there in the atmosphere for people to receive? And when I listened to both of them, because it was 3 total, it was Joe Budden, then Charlamagne, then Joe Budden again. But when I listened to all of them, the conclusion I came to is there's a table. We all got a seat at the table. Let's just eat. Let's all eat. You may not like him. I'm like OT. OT don't eat pork. He don't eat pork. I don't eat pork either. But I'll tear up some bacon. Let's just be real. Just saying. We need to stop the competition aspect of who's better and all this kind of stuff when we're talking about this, because, it's one of those things where if you're putting content out there, it doesn't matter who else is putting the same content out there. It doesn't matter who's speaking louder. It doesn't matter who's got the bigger name guests. What's the content of what you and your guests are talking about? And that's it's one of the things that drives me. And that's why I'm hesitant sometimes to have guests on, because you never know which direction they may go. You never know what their mindset's going to be. Hell, you don't even know if they really want to be on your show. They may just be filling the plug. But let's all sit at the table and eat. What'd you say? We had one of those?
Yeah. Yeah, because remember, I mean, we cut him off at about 7 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Because it was like, hey, you know what, man, feel like that you don't want to be on here, so bye.
Yeah. And let me say this for the listeners. RW Coolins has never booked anybody. OT booked all of them interviews, so if they were not good, that was his fault. I just went along with the flow. But this dude, but no, all seriousness, that guy, he was on there, and within the first 3 minutes of him being on the show, I text you. You remember what I text you?
Yeah, like, you might as well cut it short because
I
Don't want to
text
be
you.
on
I
there.
said, "Hey, bro, we need to get him off here because he ain't bringing nothing to the table."
Yep.
And you said, "Okay." And I said, and you was talking a little long, and I text you back in capital letters, said, "Now,"
Yep.
because you were trying to be nice.
yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But you
Yeah.
have to know, and that's the thing. You have to know if that energy's not there. Sometimes you got to pull the plug. You got to pull the
Yeah.
plug, and it's nothing against the person that's on. It's all about the people that are listening because they're not going
Yeah.
to want to sit through somebody who truly doesn't sound like they want to be there. If you don't want to be there,
Mm-hmm.
what you calling in for? Why are
Yeah.
you here?
Exactly.
Why are
Exactly.
you here? So that's one of them things that you get into, and it's like, are we for real right now? Did you call in just to act like you wanted to be here, or what's going on?
Mhm.
What's going on? So, um, mind, body, and soul. You know, I got to do my mind, body, and soul segment today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mind, body, and soul. For all the listeners that don't know, may not know, this is when when talk about take a phrase, quote, and I elaborate on it. Mind, body, and soul. Because if the mind's right, body right, soul's right, and they're all on the same accord, you're gonna get right. So here we go. This is a quote. Let me take my glasses off so I can see this clear. It's only after you've stepped out of your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, and transform. It's only after you've stepped out of your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, and transform. And that's by Roy T. Bennett. And I picked this up specifically today, this quote, because as I mentioned before, OT stalking me to do the radio shows, things like that. But it was outside my comfort zone. It was something that I never thought about doing. It was something that I didn't think I was going to be good at. It was something that I was like, nah, I ain't got time for that. Do I have a voice for it? All those doubts that could come in came into play. And then something said, step out your comfort zone. Try it.
Just try it. Mm-hmm.
It's all about trying. And once I stepped out of that comfort zone, I've seen where I'm able to grow. I'm able to transform my thinking. I'm able to look at things a lot differently. I'm able to put better words into what I want to say compared to how I used to say it. You know what I'm saying? So what I would tell the listeners out there is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. Because the thing is, if you don't try, you'll never know. And the worst thing than failure is unknowing. If you don't know what you're capable of, if you don't give yourself an opportunity to step out of your comfort zone and feel uncomfortable sometimes, then you'll never know your true capability and how high you can soar. And I put that in here specifically because I'm gonna tell you, OT, I appreciate you, bro, because they always say the messenger always it may not come in the form that you would expect it to. And I ain't saying nothing about
Yeah.
your looks and nothing like that. I'm just saying.
Oh, nah.
But you never know when you're gonna get into that comfort zone of doing something. Joe Kirk, same way when you begin singing. All right, let me clear something up on this singing thing because he gonna beat me up on there. So when I joined the Victorious Men of Praise, when I joined the singing group I was in out here in Las Vegas, Victorious Men of Praise, they asked, one of the guys introduced me, Tom Brown, asked me to come, and join the group. I said, well, I'll come, but I don't sing. I sing at it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, just come on out. Just come on out. I said, okay. So I went out there, and next thing I know, I'm in the group. And it was very fulfilling for me. Very, very fulfilling. Somebody's trying to chime in. Terry, somebody named Terry. You need to connect your microphone and your camera, Terry. But yeah, you need to connect your microphone and your camera. But as I joined the group, it was outside of my comfort zone, way outside of my comfort zone. Because I did karaoke, but I ain't never sang. You know what I'm saying? And it was one of those things that once I got in there and I started learning from Joe and the guys that were in the group of what notes to hit and how to hit the notes and different things like that, it was something that took me out of my comfort zone because there was one thing sing karaoke. Because here's the analogy I used. when I told somebody. They said, "You in a singing group?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Well, you just do karaoke. What's the difference between a singing group and a karaoke?" I said, "Well, the group I'm in is a church group." They said, "Make a joyful noise." I said, "When I was doing karaoke, those are drunks. They don't care if you're hitting the note or not."
Oh man.
They didn't care if I hit the right note, wrong note, any of that kind of stuff. They just wanted to hear somebody up there singing while they were drinking. And it's a difference. And I told them, I said, I had to come out of my comfort zone for that specific thing. And it was one of them things, man, that, I look back at it now, that stepping out of my comfort zone has opened up many doors for me. Many, many doors, and I see many more opening. And like I said, I want to thank you, man, because, when it came to the radio thing, you opened the door. When it came to the singing, Tom Brown, Joe, Roy, all the guys that went to Victoria's Men of Praise, they opened the door for me. So someone sees things in you or see things in us that we may not see in ourselves.
Yeah.
But when they recognize it and they stalk you, and they stalk you, and they stalk you.
Way to Vegas. Way to Vegas.
I'm still trying to figure out how you got my number, but that's another conversation for another day. So
Hey,
you have
I got connections.
you have to step out of your comfort zone sometimes and just say, I'm going to try it. If it works, thank you, Jesus. If it don't work, thank you, Jesus. Either way, you'd have to be thankful because you gave it a try. And you never know how it's going to turn out. So 8 years, man, 8 years I've been doing this. And I say 8 years, there's been breaks here and there, but I will say this, them loyal listeners, bruh, they stalkers too.
Bruh, yeah.
Stalkers,
And I can't say that. I can't say that because I remember, because, as you say, OT, man, you take too many hiatus. You know what I mean? And then I got to step in and I got to do this. And I can say, man, we didn't had loyal listeners for so long, man, that love the content and they love us. Because when you have the kind of loyal listeners that we do have, that mean that we did something right. That mean that they said, you know what, every time these folks get on the radio, they talking truthfulness. They talking with the heart. They not giving us BS. And that's something that I can say that I know that's going to follow us for a long, long, long time, man. And you know, I'm grateful for that because I remember when folks was like, "When y'all coming back? Hey, when RW coming back?" And I'm calling you like, "Hey, man, people asking when you coming back. They like, yo, forget OT. With the man RW." I'm like, "Yo, RW, they crashing. Ah, man, give me a time." Because I remember when you went through, your surgery a little bit,
My hip
and you was like,
replacement.
just give me some time, you know. And I'm coming back on. I'm calling you every day, like, hey, listen, somebody just popped up, like, hey, where the speaker on the show at? Where RW at? I'm like, hey, give me some time now. You recuperate. Okay,
And
okay.
see, let
You
me let
know,
me let me clear something up because this is where OT dirty. Let me clear something up. This is where OT is dirty at. See, he telling y'all the basics. See, when OT would call me after I had my hip replacement and everything, talking about, man, when you coming back? When you coming back? He didn't just end it at that. He said, man, I got all these females calling me, bro. They said, when RW coming back? When R? It's like,
that's the truth. That's the
but
truth.
but but the thing is, you know, everybody knows when a man tells another man that females is looking for him, whether it's through the voice or the phone or whatever, you get a soft spot. You're like, oh man, let me get back on the radio.
Yeah.
I guess they want to hear these golden vocal cords or something. Let me get not knowing that his ass was lying.
Now, listen, what I mean? The getting back going, that's what we got to do. But,
Yeah,
however, you could tell that people was missing you because when
yeah,
you got back on, they're like, huh? Because I remember when we had the website up, you start reading the comments, people was commenting on it.
yeah.
Hey, RW's back. RW's back. So and then when you look, you sit back, you looking, this is a bunch of females. I'm like, oh wow, RW. So it's
Yeah.
even though I said it, it was still came to pass that it was still missing
OT
because
called all of them and said, leave a comment on the website saying that Big RW coming back. I
hey,
know how
hey,
you
hey,
operate, bro.
listen. Some of 'em I didn't even know. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Some of 'em I didn't even know.
But it's one of them things, man. When you sit back and you think about it, you like I said, you really don't know the impact that you may be having
Yeah.
when you decide to do something. So my message out to everybody is, you know, and let me put it in this aspect, because before I came back here, when I moved back to Vegas this time, I was going through some things, man, as far as my mentality. And I remember talking to, and the people out there that know it will know who I'm talking about, but Reverend Langston. She was a pastor at the church back there in Maryland, where I was going at the time for my mom and them. And I seen her, I think we were at a funeral or something. And I told her I was moving back to Vegas and everything. And we got to talking, and I told her, I said, one thing that's eating at me right now is I'm trying to figure out what my purpose is. What is my purpose? And she told me, she's like, leave it alone. Leave it alone. She said, you'll find out. He'll let you know. Stop worrying about it. Stop worrying
Yep.
about it and just keep doing what you're doing, and he'll show you. And after I got back out here, it was a little hiatus, and then once I got back on here, it clicked. This right here. This right here. In conjunction with the other things that I'm getting ready to start doing, but this right here, a microphone. And that's another reason why I came with the one man, one mic, is because, we always want to know. Well, as we get older, we want to know. When we're young, we think our purpose is just to run the streets, drink, party, do whatever we're going to do, and be happy. But as you get older and you want to make an impact in things, you start asking. And this is when you're getting into that growth element, is when you start asking, what's my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? How am I supposed to be doing it? And this is it. A microphone somehow, whether I'm doing it on the radio, like I'm doing now, whether I'm singing, which everybody keep begging about, or whether I'm doing these speaking engagements and stuff that I'm going to go moving forward to. I got a story to tell. Somehow, some way, and somebody wants to hear it, and that's where I'm at. And it's just, when you see these things come to fruition, you just realize that it's not about us. It's about a higher power that's guiding and guiding our steps and everything. So, but that's why I say you never know who the messenger is going to be when they deliver the message. But OT, the man sent you to tell me to get on this microphone.
Yes, sir.
And that loyalty to you will continue to be there, man. We got ventures coming up that we've been talking about doing and everything like that. So I say again, man, I truly, truly appreciate you, man, and appreciate everything you've done for me as far as the show, as far as life. Our conversations about life as a whole, trials and tribulations. And let me put this in here. Me and OT, like I said, we were only knowing each other through passing when I was in Atlanta. No in-depth conversations, no talk about life, just, what's up, man, how you doing? The first time we had an in-depth conversation had to do with this. Had to do with this show.
Ain't that something? Ain't that something?
I mean, when you really think about it, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
But it just shows you that what's meant to be is meant to be. And when you get and you're open to what someone has to say or how somebody presents themselves to you, if you're receptive of it, you'd be surprised what comes out of it. So 8 years later, bruh, this is
8
it.
years later, look
This
at
is
you.
it.
Look
This
at
is
you.
it.
Look at
This
you.
is it.
Look at you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of them things, man. And
Yes, sir.
I wasn't gonna do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it since my sister and them was asking. I'm not gonna
Take a
sing
note.
a lot.
Take a
I'm not
note.
gonna
Let's
sing a
go.
lot. But my sister, she worries me all the time about singing, Joe and all them being singing. Now I'm not saying it's gonna be perfect, but I'm gonna sing, a little something. Let me start something. I was walking downtown one day and I saw a man who appeared to be just an old wino sitting on the streets telling the people about Jesus as they passed by. And because the man was all raggedy and dirty, people would just laugh and make fun of the old man and walk on by. But he said, I got lost. Let me just go into the chorus. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. That's all I got for y'all this morning. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody. That's all I can give y'all today. I know it might have been a little off, but that's impromptu. Let me put it that way. And I ain't really been saying too much, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to get ready to do this wrap up, man. Let me see who got a comment. I know somebody. My cousin, Linda. You better sing, cuz. I appreciate you, cuz. I appreciate your support, you know, chiming in, letting us know what's going on. Now we're going to get all kind of chime in, man. I'm trying to send this thing off. Sang. Yeah, I sang at it. Let me just say, I sang at it. But, you know, it's one of them things where, like I said before, I got to get more comfortable in just putting it out there.
Yeah, man.
It's one thing that people tell me, and I've heard, and we've all heard, and I'm just going to say, hold on, Joe Kirk. What God has for you, can't nobody stop you. I'm just nobody. Sing, boy. Yeah. And what I found out in life is that what God has for us, nobody can take away.
Yes.
And sometimes what we have to do is put those fears down. And when somebody asks you, and my mother taught me this, when somebody asks you to sing, whether you're prepared or not, you do what you got to do.
Yep.
You do what you got to do because it's what they want. It's not always about you, you know. So I'm trying to get there. Still a little hesitant there, you know, because I think the biggest fear is not sounding the way that you think you should sound. And that's one of the things that I got to get better at is going forward. But in this wrap up, OT, what you got to tell anybody anything about some ventures coming up, anything, bro?
Oh yeah, man. We got a couple of ventures going out there. One of them, we're finally going to be actually having a 24-hour, 7 days a week radio station. Um, Roku TV. We setting everything up for our Roku streaming channel on Roku TV, and we already know we're gonna get it. But I still got my fingers crossed for the Fire Stick to have our own streaming channel on the Fire Stick. So
I don't
when
think y'all heard him. I don't think y'all heard him. Let me repeat that one time. OT said, we're about to be on, a 24-hour radio station, which we've been talking about, where it's got music playing 24 hours and our shows will be injected in there to be listened to at certain times and we'll be broadcasting live through there. The second thing, if you got Roku TV, we're going to have an actual channel where we can stream the shows on Roku TV, content. And the one that we got our fingers crossed about is Fire Stick. Now, all y'all know y'all got a Fire Stick. Now, I don't think you got to be jailbroke on your Fire Stick to be able to get this.
Sure don't. Sure don't. You ain't happy.
I don't know if you got to have a jailbroke because, you know, RW Coolers don't do that kind of thing. I'm upstanding citizen. I'm upstanding citizen. I don't jailbreak nothing. I use it by the manufacturer's specifications. I don't jailbreak anything. However, if I receive a Fire Stick that's already been jailbroken unbeknownst to me, then I'll use it. That's all I'm saying. I don't go look for it, but if it presents itself, I will plug it in. Now, so the Fire Stick thing, is still in the works, right?
Yes. And I should hear something back actually this week by Thursday, which I'm thinking that is going to be a yes answer to it. So you don't have to have it broken or anything. It's going to be you get your Fire Stick, you go to the channel, you stream how people do stream channels, go to stream channel, and everything will pop up what you want to see, how you want to see it, everything. And I think that's venture that we're going to be doing is going to be phenomenal because now we can take it, and this is what you call owning your content.
Watch out
You
now.
can
I'm just
take
getting
your
ready to go now.
content, you can take your content, and you can plug it where you want to plug it in now, and no one don't own it.
Right.
So, uh, so these are the ventures that's happening. Um, Somebody else said something, but I'm going to talk to you off the air about that one because this one might blow your mind a little bit. But me and you want to talk off the air on this one because the person that set up the Roku and the Fire Stick for the Fire
Mm.
TV uh, said once those things come to pass, he's going to look at something 6 months down the line that everybody has, everybody order from. Let me say it again. Everybody order from these people. They have 1 day shipment, 2 day shipment, and you all know the name and start with an A. And that's all I gotta say.
You talking about amazing? Amazing grace.
Great.
We'll get to that some other time. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, man. Hey, LT, like I said before, man, I truly, truly appreciate you, bro, for putting me on. 8 years in the making. You know, we've been doing this thing. And what I want people to know, man, is out of a business relationship, we have become friends. OT will
Yes.
call me when he got some things going on. I'll call him when he got
Yep.
things going on, and we just call and
That's
chop
my
it up
big bro right
sometime.
there.
You
That's
know,
my big bro right there. I can say that. And I'm gonna say this. You have been there for me through a whole lot that a lot of people don't even know.
right.
Mother's death, grandmother's death, through kids' issues and stuff like that. And you have been there. And what I can say is that you're not just, as people call it, business partners, but you're family for me. So when
Right.
people ask about, yo, how many brothers you got, you're one of my brothers, and I talk about it, because at the end of the day, you my big bro. So we could talk about all business we want to, but then I could still come to you and say, hey, listen, man, I'm going through this right here. You say, hey, bro, first, pray about it. That's your first thing. Pray about it. Sit on it, pray about it, see what comes out of it. And I definitely appreciate you for that. And for 8 years strong, we've been going through that. And listen, I can find you anywhere you go. I just want to let you know I got people in places that you don't know that I have people in places. I can get you. I can get you now. Go and change the number you want to. You're going to be getting another call. You be like, hey, what? Yo, what's up? Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Wow.
man. I just got this phone about 10 minutes ago.
No, I'm locked in
But
now, man. But and what I was saying was, you're right. We family, man, because
yeah,
you
man.
know, business is business, family is family,
Yep.
friends is friends.
Yep.
You know, and you got to know where to separate the three, really.
Yep.
And one thing that I know about us is we can be talking about business, then we'll transfer to family and situations and whatever we're going through. But one thing that hasn't wavered in the 8 years we've been doing this and we've been, as tight as we have become, is that
Yeah.
we both respect each other. And I
Yep.
think that's something that is a lost art with a lot of people is they talk about how they like this person or how they're friends and their family, but there's a disrespect element involved in it where a lot of people do not they don't look at it in the aspect of being disrespectful. They look at it as a thing where that's just how I feel today. My thing
Hmm.
is, you may feel this way today about something that the person said to you or done to you or otherwise. But if you hold on to it till the next day, then you really need to reevaluate how your relationship truly is. Because the thing
Facts.
is, if you feel a certain way about something they said to you and you can't let it go within the next 5 minutes because that is your family, that is your friend, then you need to reevaluate how you evaluate your friends and your family. It's one of
Hmm.
those things where when you really look at it, life is too short to be walking around with grudges, complaining, all the different things you can think about in negative is too short. Tomorrow is not promised. And that's why whenever we talk, I always tell you, bro, I say, hey, man, keep doing your thing. And if you need me,
Hmm.
pick
Yep.
up the phone and call me. Don't
Yes,
hesitate.
sir.
Don't
Yes, sir.
hesitate. I said, because I may have to pick up a phone call you. You call me your
Yes.
big brother, but I go through things too now. I go through things too. But it's one of those things where you know, I posted something the other day, and then we're gonna wrap this up. But I posted something the other day that was in my memories, and it dealt with relationships. And the hashtag I put on there was relationships matter. Relationships matter. No matter what type of relationship you may think about when that's said, they matter, because those relationships are going to help you grow. They're going to help you evolve, and they're going to help you realize that the people that you can truly depend on will always be there for you. So the relationships that you build, the relationships that you encounter, the relationships that you had to let go, you learn from those relationships, you build from those relationships, and it makes you better rather than becoming bitter. Those are the main things that I've learned along these, not just 8 years, but those 54 years that I've been around here, you know. But next week, I'll be back on the show. We'll be talking about some things, what's going on. I got, matter of fact, one of the people that chimed in, Michelle, Lady Michelle. I'll be having her on here shortly about her foundation. And then I have another person called Leah. I can't remember her last name. I don't want to call. She's got a foundation back there in Maryland. But I'm going to have both of them on here coming up. So look out for those shows. There's going to be giving some information about abuse, and the other one's going to be giving information about addiction, recovery, all those things included in that. So we're going to be talking about that. But, hey, I appreciate you again, OT. And let me say this. To the listeners, to the followers, to the family. Y'all family now. It's 8 years. Y'all ain't listeners no more. Y'all family. The Speak On This Show family. Let me tell y'all something. None of this is possible without y'all. None of this is possible without y'all. And I got OT's fans, well, family. OT's got my family. They're all integrated in with each other. And one thing I'm gonna say about this is, and I'm gonna leave it at that. When we talk about listenership, followers, likes, all that, when I say follow me, and try to get you to follow me on YouTube and Facebook and all that, it has nothing to do with the number. Let me clear that up real quick, because I think a lot of people get caught up. It has nothing to do with the number of people following. It has to do with the people following so they can get the content. And because what I want to do with the content is impact. And if I have, the more people I'm able to impact, the more people that are listening, the more change that will come in how we're going about doing our daily business in this world.
Facts.
That's it. And that's the purpose. That's the focus. That's where I'm driving to. And when we get on these streaming and all these things that we got coming to fruition, it's going to be a whole nother conversation.
Yep.
So I'm going to call Michael Basin Day and tell him, look out, we on the way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I appreciate everybody. Look, as I always say, love yourself, love one another, keep your head up, and most definitely keep your faith in God. I appreciate everybody for the support up to this point, and continue supporting me. Facts. I appreciate you, Lady Michelle. Soon and very soon, I'm going to have you on. Make sure people get out there and vote. And the last thing I'll say is learn to love one another. But before you can really do that, you have to learn to love yourself. And we out. Appreciate you tuning in. 8 years, baby. And we're going to keep on doing what we do. Appreciate you, OT. Appreciate everybody listening in.
Man,
love y'all. Man. Have a good weekend. I'm out. Peace.